It's my man Tico. Tico is back, bro. Tikuski. Have you ever had a friend like Tico? Someone who doesn't know you exist, but they still treat you with respect? That's Tico. As you can see, you got eyes. Throne of Liberty just dropped their Tico Talks video, 15-minute long, literally a full episode of SpongeBob. Like, we about to be here chilling. Before hopping into that juice information, remember, I pause a lot. I'm giving you guys my thoughts on the direction of Throne of Liberty and what I feel. And of course, I want to know your thoughts in the comment below too. This is a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. If you want to watch the full video in its entirety without any interruptions, link in the description below. You know I got you back. But let's hop in because you know Tico got our back. That was corny. No, it was. Let's go.
For Throne and Liberty. With our first siege just behind us and about a month since our last talk, it's the perfect time to reconnect with all of you in our community. Before we dive into today's topics, I want to thank all of you for your incredible response to our last Tico Talks video. What touched me most wasn't just the positive feedback, but how thoughtfully and respectfully you shared your suggestions for improving Throne and Liberty.
Do you guys think Tico watched that video I talked about Tico in? No, I'm just saying. No, wouldn't it be dope if the Throne and Liberty team was like, Poppin', we see your video. No, we see it. We don't like it, any of them, but we see it.
That kind of constructive dialogue is invaluable to us. While we may not always make decisions that align with everyone's individual wishes, please know that I'm committed to maintaining this open communication with you, and every choice we make is aimed at creating the best possible game for our community as a whole.
I love to hear that because it's so true. A lot of the things that we asked for has been implemented, and even if it takes a while, at least to be thought about or discussed between their team, it happens. And I really do enjoy that. There's not a lot of developers out there that really care about its player base rather than just kind of making money. And I always get excited for this team whenever they do anything, even if I don't care about that specific aspect of the game, because they're so passionate about it. And you can see it from Tico, you can see it from Godspeed, you can see it from the Twitter posts, their Discord posts, the Discord manager. Like, you can see it from everybody that they really care about us. And that's just, it's something you rarely see, and when I see it, I get excited for it. So that's just how I feel. Let's roll. Got me over here being all teary-eyed,
we have substantial ground
emotional.
Let's start with castle sieges. After watching multiple point of views from each region's sieges and reviewing feedback across Discord, Reddit, and other platforms, one thing stands out. This event truly sets Throne and Liberty apart. The scale of player participation creates unique battle scenarios unlike any other MMO. Our biggest siege had over 3,900 participants on the Stormbringer server.
3,900?
We saw nearly 45% of castles change ownership, and over 40,000 players received some amount of Lucent payout.
I want to touch on two topics. One, I didn't play Castle Siege. I already said I'm not a big, massive world PvPer, but that's okay. Because just because I don't like it doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's not a great thing. You know what I mean? I love Throne and Liberty because it allows me to play at my pace, and it allows me to play how I want to play. If I don't want to do crazy castle sieges, I don't have to. You know, and that's what I like. I like the more downscaled PvP. That's just my jam. But I really like that they try to reach out to every type of player that plays their game. You know, sometimes they might not, but they do try to reach out to every single person. Oh, you're a PvP. Oh, you're a PvE. Oh, you like both. You don't like any of them? What can we do for you? Like, it's always so nice to see that. Also, side note, he just said Lucent. I didn't even know there was Lucent in this mode. Y'all was getting paid Lucent to play? I might have to hop in. I'm just saying.
I watched so many awesome clips from our players making some incredible plays. It was so fun to watch. While it will take some time to review each server's unique battle, we have noticed and heard from many of you about areas in which we need to improve.
I bet somebody was cheating.
Our approach to sieges is as follows.
I bet somebody was cheating.
First, our goal is to make sure everything functions properly from a technical standpoint. Events of this magnitude are incredibly challenging to pull off.
I can imagine.
We put a lot of focus in to ensure they are technically sound. Second is to evaluate the overall challenge and fun factor. And third is to evolve sieges over time to ensure they meet the needs of our players and continue to feel fresh. With this, there are some items I want to address directly right now.
I do want to say, just because I don't like Castle Siege, that's the wrong word. I won't say I don't like it, because that's incorrect. I think it looks really cool, and I think it looks really fun and amazing. However, it's too big for me. That's not saying that I want anything changed about it. I think it looks cool, and I like looking at people do it. It's cool. I play the most, at most, is Dominion. I'll take that. I like the matchmaking vibe. I don't really like the full guild. Everybody's, knows each other. I like to just nobody knows anybody. It's random. I kind of like that, which they have in Arena, right? And so I do like I like my little area, my little corner over there. You guys enjoy yours, and it is cool. I'm not saying it's bad, but yeah, it's just nice to see them continue to build on not just that aspect, because I know that's a big Throne and Liberty aspect. People love their guilds and love that camaraderie, but also on the other aspects of people like me. So let's roll.
Shortly before the siege, we learned of a tactic that attackers could use to access the inner courtyards.
I told you someone was cheating.
Intended through the western side rooftops.
I told you somebody was cheating.
Unfortunately, we learned about it too late to address it in an optimal way prior to the siege. Due to cross-platform publishing deadlines, both fixing the issue or delaying the siege would have required releasing an untested build, risking problems for all players.
Ooh, that would suck. Yeah.
We debated this heavily internally, and ultimately we decided that raising awareness to give defending teams time to strategize their defenses was the best choice of two less than ideal options. I'm deeply sorry for anyone impacted by this decision. We're committed to resolving any unintended advantages as quickly as possible whenever they may surface.
Tico got that personality where, I'm sorry, Tico, I'm not attacking. If you've seen the last one, if Tico was popping often, your bank account's at negative balance right now, and I'm deeply sorry about that. I'd be like, well, shoot, you told me. I'm chill. Apparently you ain't worried. I ain't worried either. Shoot, I'm just that's the type of attitude Tico got. Just tell you bad news, you don't even care.
This particular issue will be resolved prior to the next castle siege on December 1st. We also identified two issues that impacted some servers where pillage zones couldn't be captured by guilds, and the Lucent distributions from those captured pillage zones were not being properly distributed. Both of these items will be resolved before the next siege.
That's good.
For anyone impacted by the distribution issue, we will identify and provide appropriate restitution. We are reviewing all claims on a case-by-case basis and will follow up with those impacted.
Ooh, that sounds
Another
like a lot
hot
of
topic
work.
from the siege is that of PvP immunity following resurrection and teleportation. It's clear that the current 30-second timer is excessive for certain siege scenarios. To change it will require development, as this timer is linked to many other parts of the game where 30 seconds is appropriate. We're going to invest that effort, and we're going to fix it as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, that won't arrive in time for the next few castle sieges, so stay tuned.
I actually really like that, and I love the transparency. I mean, dude, not just from him, but literally the company. I used to work in game development, and there's a saying, I'm not saying it right at all, but basically, players think they know what they want, but they don't know what they want. And what that means is that although developers hear you, they understand what you want, sometimes players don't understand the ramifications of that decision should they implement that into the game. And sometimes it's very awful, right? If a developer makes a change that helps one part of the community but hurts another part of the community, then it's not a decision that they want to make. And so basically him saying it like that is we understand, but it's we kind of can't, because we need that to be useful in other areas of the game. And I'm pretty sure he's going to say more of that, because that's literally what his job is, right? Is to make changes to the game, improve the game, and give us kind of what we want if it's possible. And I noticed with him, or not with him, but with the company in general, is that they will try to do what we ask, and if they can't, they'll compromise. Every single time. Every single time, if they cannot do it, they'll compromise in some sort of fashion. And that is saying something, because it doesn't take a lot of effort for a developer to say yes or no. It takes a lot of effort for them to come up with a solution that literally could benefit both sides. Bro, I'm trying to tell you. I love this company.
Up later in this video on Mega Alliances, so keep watching to hear more about that topic.
By the way, I'm not sponsored and I'm not partnered. I just am genuinely excited to hear the passion from the team all the time, and see what they're doing new. And even if I'm not a Castle Siege player, I'm excited for people who play Castle Siege. It sounds great. All the changes sound dope, and it's cool that you guys are being understood and things are happening. The ball is rolling for y'all. I'm excited for you. I'm just saying, that's how I feel. That's my vibe right now.
Of course, this isn't a comprehensive list of all the Siege improvements that we're looking into, so please keep giving us your feedback. We're committed to actioning it. While we're on the topic of PvP, I want to spend some time to talk to everyone in our great PvP community who is watching. As a longtime enjoyer of PvP myself, I want you to know that PvP will remain an important aspect of Throne and Liberty. Our game's unique ability to bring scale into PvP is both one of the most exciting and challenging parts of the game to manage. With design at scale, small changes can sometimes have a larger than intended impact, so we have to be very careful on how and when we implement changes in these areas. Here are some of the key areas we're focused on to help improve the experience for PvP. Let's start with crowd control. Simply put, we think crowd control is having a larger than intended impact on battle without sufficient methods to prevent it.
Bro, I wasn't even thinking about that. It was just that I seen her CC and I was like, dang, she must be waiting to be called in a dentist office. She was sitting there for hours. And the funny thing is, now that I think about it, when I play Dominion, people are locked down for days. It's hilarious. I didn't even know that was coming. That's ironic. Let's go.
We're going to do two things. First, we're going to significantly increase the rate at which your CC immunity gauge builds up, especially when you have multiple CCs impacting you at a given time. We hope this will reduce those times where it feels you can't control your character for extended periods of time. And this change will come in December. Second, we're working on bringing a change to the Purification Stone that will give players an additional enhancement to choose from when activating the stone. This change will also come in December.
Yeah, y'all got them Dota 2
Next,
stun timers.
I want to talk about mega alliances. This is a challenging problem to solve that doesn't have a silver bullet solution. Oftentimes, eliminating certain elements of the game that help mega alliances thrive would also hurt guilds who use those features for intended gameplay. For now though, we will be removing hostile guild relationships fully from the game. This change will come in December. Mega alliances also require looking at the human element though. While incentives are causing these alliances to form, balancing them is tricky. Swing the pendulum too far the other way, and it could harm all of our guilds.
That's literally what I just
conflict
said.
mode bosses in particular, we are working on this issue to adjust how rewards are managed. We don't have an exact timeline for this change just yet, but we'll let you know once we have firmer dates. When we make this change, our goal is to create a fair balance across all participants, while still ensuring the strongest performers see the appropriate benefit for their success.
I heard horror stories from you guys about guild leaders doing some shady stuff. I actually turned my setting off from my guild. I feel like if you earn the item, you earn the item. I shouldn't really do things like that. I think we would have a collective guild talk should we want to do anything. And my guild's not massive. If you guys want to join it, feel free. It's not at the moment at least, it's not aiming to be a top tier crazy guild. It's just a guild for us to have fun, enjoy our time. If you got any questions, if you need any help, that's what we're here for, that type of thing. So if you just want somewhere to hang out, at least in the meantime, until you find a better guild, by all means, that's what it's for. You know, we're just hanging out, chilling. Same with my Discord too, if you guys want to hop in there. The community is just like me, right? We want to do our best, but we want everyone to have fun and have a good time. But yeah, I was literally just explaining that about it. I was like, okay, there's some things you just can't do and some things you can do, and weighing those options are very, very important. And yeah, I definitely think the reward things needs to be addressed, because a lot of what you guys say, I read it and I'm like, oh God, that's unfortunate.
So stay tuned as we finalize those details and share them with you later. A key place we want to improve is the general availability of PvP for our players more broadly. With the current scale of players required for the majority of PvP in the game, there are some barriers to PvP accessibility right now.
With the Warzone?
That's why on December 5th, we are bringing our new feature, War Games.
War Games, not Warzone.
And War Games provides a custom lobby feature for
That's a Gears of War mindset for you.
Or Rift Stones and Boon Stones. Within the War Games menu, players can create their custom lobby, selecting what stone they want to fight over, the number of teams that will fight, and the size of each team.
Like imagine
spectating
spectating this, dude.
And once the lobby is full, you start the match.
Imagine announcing
My
it.
favorite thing is you can do private and public matches.
Or commentary.
So we think the use cases for players is going to be huge. Competitive PvP guilds can use it for practices, while less competitive guilds can do inter-guild skirmishes with their friends. We're purposefully introducing War Games as a feature that does not currently provide rewards. We're doing that because we want to grow the feature based on where the community naturally gravitates. With my engineering background, I'm a firm believer in iterative development and that you'll never learn more than when your customer is using your product.
Facts.
So please, try out the feature and share your feedback.
Facts.
And we'll use that input to build an engaging, fully fledged PvP mode with integrated rewards. Lastly, I want to talk about Conquest battle times. I told you in my last video to please take our player survey because we really use it to guide how we evolve the game. And this is a prime example. Thank you to everyone who gave feedback on the topic of Conquest battle timing in our survey. It's clear that the large majority of our community thinks they start too early. Starting on December 5th, we're going to push Conquest battles to start at a later time. We will share the new time as soon as it's finalized. We're going to keep listening to feedback from our community and keep iterating while we strive for continuous improvement.
That's what I love about the community for Throne of Liberty. I mean, there might be a few bad eggs here and there, but like the overall majority, you guys like care about your game, like for real. You don't care how many skins they show you. You don't care how many boss weapons they give you. You don't care. If something ain't right, y'all need to do something about this because this is not okay. Like, it's not even just the developer doing things. It's you guys telling the developer what to do, the developer weighing the pros and cons, and then overall, us as a whole creates a better Throne of Liberty game. Like, it's actually just so insane how in tandem everybody is. This is why I love this game. Jesus. I love the game. I do.
We spent a lot of time so far discussing PvP due to the recent completion of our largest endgame PvP event. But PvE is equally as important to us as PvP.
Oh, PvE.
We've got a lot for all of our players, so let's get into the rest of our topics now.
Wish list. Here we go. Before we hop into the PvE, you look like you about to tell me something I'm about to enjoy, Tico. No, we here with ours. Okay. Wish list. Q dodge timer. People should not be queuing up and having that pop up flash 30 times. I don't got that much time on my hands. We need to have a penalty for that because that's not okay. People leaving dungeons. Penalty for that, not okay. I'm guessing for like the actual dungeon you queue for, different story, because if you're leaving a dungeon you specifically queued for, you're probably leaving for an emergency or you just wipe with your team. That would kind of make sense if you didn't really like your teammates. So I guess more of my change is going to be for like that random queue because yeah, a lot of people like pop out and they'll either like cancel the dodge or they'll just go in and leave. The other wish list I want is like, again, chat behavior. I think that's a major problem. And a lot of players are talking down and just, you know, being rude to other players that don't have what they have or are not as good as them. And expel needs rework. There's no reason that there should be so many expels in a game, in a matchmaking scenario. I don't think I've ever played a game where I queue so much there's always an expel. And the reasons aren't actually real. Like, I want to like have them go through like their expels and like see is there really valid reasons, and then like what can we do to kind of adjust that. Maybe give someone a certain amount of expels a day. That sounds really kind of hit or miss, honestly. Like, why would you need to perma expel people? Maybe have it a cooldown like an hour, 2 hours, I don't know. But I see the most craziest reasons to expel someone. One thing could be, oh, your weapon's a specific color. But the funny thing is that person's weapon has a skin on it and their stuff is hidden. So that person just didn't like that person and he gets expelled because that person didn't like him. Or, oh, this person sucks. Oh, this person, blah, 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 blah. And I think there are right reasons to expel people, but majority of the time, they're not really the right reasons and people get kicked out and they can't enjoy themselves. I feel like that's a disgusting behavior. Not calling, if you expel people on a daily basis, I'm not calling you disgusting. I think it's a disgusting behavior. Basically, you're depriving others of joy and having fun just like you want to do, right? You want to enjoy yourself. You want to have fun. It's just not cool to waste somebody's time and kick them later and they spent 10 minutes, 20 minutes in a dungeon with you. It's just not cool. So I don't know. I don't know how they could do that because it is used how it's intended. However, it is abused at the moment. So I think having a timer, like an hour for like expelling, or maybe 2 hours, one expel, give people a daily limit or something like that. Because realistically, you should not be expelling multiple people a day. That just doesn't seem, it doesn't seem normal. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of the time, Throne of Liberty players, including myself, we do things because there's no rules. I'm not someone who will leave dungeons in any game. However, in this game, I will. Why? Because I can. I would not do it if there were telling me I shouldn't do it, right? It's like a lot of us aren't actually ill-willed people. It's just there's no reason to not do it because they don't have a boundary, don't have a thing for it. And I rarely leave dungeons, by the way. If I leave, it's because I'm looking for footage in a video and I have to start from the beginning. Only time I actually really leave. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to talk your ear off. Let's continue.
Let's talk about dungeon matchmaking. Last time we talked, I mentioned that we added an incentivized random dungeon option to the matchmaking feature in order to help address queue times. And it worked. We've seen a great improvement in our queue times for matchmaking, and we are thrilled about that.
I'd be in there all day.
However, it's led to two situations. One, players are using this option in an unintended fashion that essentially bypasses the randomness.
Yeah.
And two, players feel that they have to make a choice between playing with friends and doing what's most efficient.
Right.
The original intent of this change, beyond helping queue times, was to encourage more experienced players to make a choice where they could help other players, and in exchange, they would be eligible to receive extra rewards, so both sides could be satisfied.
Right.
But that hasn't quite hit the mark yet.
It has not.
So there are two changes for this. The first step is that on November 21st, we made a change allowing up to 4 players to queue together for random dungeons. This serves two purposes. First, it will let you more easily play with your friends, while still leaving space for random players to help with queue times.
Let me attack this real quick. Obviously, there's pros and cons for everything. I see where they're going, but one of the issues that I have with that is that when you have friends queue together, or guild members, whatever, would you consider your guild members your friends? Let me know in the comments. But you're essentially saying, here's a reward. If you do well, you get this. Well, what happens if 2 people, 3 people, some randoms that don't know what they're doing, maybe low geared, whatever, are ruining your ability to get your reward? You as that group are going to attack them. And I've already seen it. I've seen it. It hasn't even been 24 hours where the patch dropped and I've seen a group of people be belligerent. And it's really unfun and it's not a cool behavior. And again, that really comes down to just, it doesn't seem like there's any restrictions for behaving wildly. It was so bad that I blocked 2 of them. I didn't report them because you got to be going crazy. Like, you really got to be like doing something you shouldn't be doing for me to report you for abusive chat. But I blocked 2 of them because I didn't want to deal with that. That's day 1. So I'm curious. Do you guys have any horror stories right now with the dungeons, with the random dungeons, with people queuing up together? Let me know in the comments below. But that's just my approach to that. Not only are you having people queue together, which is cool, but having a reward makes it more serious. This is going to be able to attract sweats, and not all sweats are, you know, bad apples, but there are some bad apple sweats. And those are the type of people that strut their stuff when they come in. They think they own the lobby. It's very nerve-wracking. And so I would just like to see something done with that for these players. It's not really towards me because I'm already geared. You know, I know how to play the game, but it's just looking at it from the perspective of someone else, of a newer player and stuff like that. And that's really what my channel is about. It's always about you guys, not about me. So I'm just kind of thinking on that other side of the coin.
Second, it should allow you to have more coordination in that group of friends, and we hope that lessens the burden some of the more experienced players have felt when trying to help less experienced players complete dungeons.
See, I don't think he should have called it a burden, because that just brings negativity to that. Tico. Because basically that's just bringing negativity. And so it's kind of like, okay, if playing with lower players is a burden, invite your friends. And now it's kind of giving that taste of like, yeah, low geared players, and you know, and I could just be reading too much into it. I literally could be reading too much into it. But I'm just saying, I've been on both sides of the spectrum in multiple games. I know what it's like to be top dog, and I know what it's like to be underdog. The interaction between them is not that great all the time. And in a game like this, where there's no restriction on how you behave so far, that's something that I'd be worried about. Especially, again, he is leaning towards saying it's a burden, which it really shouldn't be a burden. I don't know what word you would substitute that with, but I feel like burden is kind of like rough to talk about new players or inexperienced players.
Then, in December, we will also add a penalty for players who do not accept the random dungeon queue.
Let's go.
Or choose to leave the dungeon early.
Let's go.
This will help ensure that the random dungeon queue serves its intended purpose of being random.
That's what I'm talking about. Once again, I don't think Throne of Liberty players are ill-willed. I just think Throne of Liberty players, majority of them, again, there are bad apples, but majority of players that do things like, I'm going to decline the queue because I don't want to play this dungeon. It's too hard, or it's just too annoying to deal with. They're doing it because they can. It's not because they want to. Like, it's not because they just like want to queue up and just disrupt everybody. It's just they don't want to do it, and there's no rule to say I can't. You know what I mean? Same thing for joining a dungeon and then leaving instantly because you want to get it out the queue. I mean, it doesn't really do anything because you can still get put back in there. But there's no penalty for it. The fact is, we're trying to have intimidation to prevent you from doing things. It's kind of like the law, right? It's not like you technically can't do something, but you'll think twice before doing it because you know what's going to happen. And I think that's kind of something important that the game needs.
I want to give you an update on our work fighting bots. We're making good progress. As bots pop up, we're beating them down.
I haven't seen many
but
bots
the fight
lately.
against them is never over. We'll continue to prioritize limiting the impact of bad actors within the game. And on top of that, we've taken a tough stance on RMT. Recently, we made additional changes to our approach of clawing back Lucent from those who RMT. In addition to sending them into negative balance and restricting them from the auction house,
That sounds so
we
rough.
also have adjusted the guild distribution system to prevent those players from receiving guild distribution while in negative balance.
Oh, God.
This change was made prior to the first Castle Siege. We've seen this policy be very effective so far, but we are also going to pursue RMT players further, as it's our goal to consistently maintain a fair play environment for all our players.
You see what you see? He just said, we've seen this policy be effective so far. It's literally just having boundaries. People that did the RMT, there are bad apples, once again, but I'm sure there are plenty of people that only did it because there was no rules against it. Kind of like sort of thing, right? Like morally, RMT is bad, clearly. But if there's no rule that says you can't, you're more inclined to think about it and try it. I did it in MapleStory a long time ago when I was a kid. I'd spend $10 and I get like 1 million mesos or something like that. This is back in the day. And is it wrong? Yeah. But is there rules against it? Oh, I mean, I guess there is, huh? But it wasn't really heavily enforced, I guess, back in the day. But honestly, I was a kid, so I probably didn't think about it. So, but if like my parents were like, you are not supposed to spend money like that on a game that does that. My parents didn't really play games. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like if I knew about the boundaries, then I would have thought twice before doing it. Like how I do today when I know about it, and no matter what game it is, I know it's a wrong thing to do. You know what I mean? So I think that's kind of where we are with our...
One of Throne of Liberty's strengths
with
is its ability to perform at large scale, and we want to embrace that. We've been working to improve and optimize all of our events since launch and have made great strides. Arc Boss Peace Mode events, however, are still not where we want them to be. Having thousands of players in such a small area is causing a burden for many of our players' ability to enjoy the event as intended.
I can see that.
So we're going to increase the number of portals that spawn during Peace Mode for the Arc Boss event.
That's what's up.
Similar to how we increased the portal count for regular field bosses a few weeks back. We think this will significantly help with the performance in these events. And by the way, I think people will also enjoy more chance to get that sweet, sweet Arc Boss loot. Not
even just that. I think there's an indirect... goodness. I can't speak. There's an indirect good to that, and that is the fact that less players means that players can read a fight better, not only because it's less choppy, but you can focus more on like what the boss is doing, how it's moving, its attacks and stuff like that. Like it feels more of a fight rather than just a meltdown, I guess is the best way to say it.
We have a boatload of new content coming to end the year strong. As you heard on Eye of Silezium a few days ago, on November 21st, we released the first wave of our 2-star co-op dungeons. We've mentioned before that we want to release content when it makes sense for our players.
That's the sickest boss, by the way. That guy and the way that the butcher guy looks, oh my God. Speaking of dungeons, I will be having guides, simplified guides for all 4 of them dropping today. So make sure you subscribe so you're notified when it does drop, and then make sure you check back because it will be dropped today if you haven't already done it and you need some help. Some of these are a little rough, and those guides are meant to be with random players. I know a lot of times you see guides, or a lot of the times you see people explain things, and it's because and it's in a way where they had a structured team. It's not with randoms. Well, the way that I do my guides is I want it so that you can share with people and be like, oh, hey, this is how you do it. And it's very simple to understand. I don't know if you've ever had someone try to explain something during your match or during your fight. And it's like, bro, I don't understand what you're saying. So like, that's why I like to simplify it down. So that way, you can just tell anybody whether they speak English or speak your native tongue or not. But like I said, that's dropping today. So
and this was one of those
keep a lookout
cases.
for it.
We had originally intended to release these a little bit later, but we made the call to move them forward
and
release
sick.
4 of them right away because we saw the data showed you were ready for it. So I really hope you've been enjoying them. As Godspeed mentioned in that video, we also have Dimensional Trials releasing on December 5th. These trials will be versions of the 2-star dungeons with increasingly difficult levels, leaderboards, and rewards. Oh, and by the way, you can do them infinitely and always get rewards.
Let's go.
So for all my hardcore PvE friends, go have some fun.
About to have some fun.
That's just part of all the new content coming December.
Like, that's
so
what I like to do.
Stay tuned to all our channels as we keep revealing more of what's coming soon. We're also committed to bringing you more quality of life improvements. And as we head into the end of this year and the beginning of next year, we're going to put a strong emphasis on improving some of the pain points and core parts of our game, particularly in combat and movement. We've received feedback that players are frustrated with some aspects of this part of the game, and we want to improve that. So look forward to the early part of next year for us to bring several impactful updates that we think will make combat and movement feel more fluid, intuitive, and natural.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement issues in the game. Don't get me wrong. But obviously that's obvious. What I'm hoping for is like a better indication of if I'm blocking or not. I feel like if I'm swarmed or it's a very chaotic fight, it's a very intense fight, I'm kind of pressing the block button and praying that it works. And it's not like I know if it works unless I hear the ding, or like whatever character or class is using whatever, the sound effect that your block makes. I don't know sometimes if it's chaotic, and I just press and pray. So I don't know how that would be amplified. I don't know how that would be. Maybe it's just me. Honestly, maybe it's just me. But I would also like to have the dodge roll tighten up a little bit. I feel like dodge rolling has like a delay or something like that. Have it be as like snap action as the block, and have a little bit more clarity about the invulnerable. I can't see the invincibility frame of it. You know what I mean? Like the defense frame of it. Those are the two things that I think I'm looking forward to, should it be adjusted.
We're so grateful for all the participation following our release and truly believe the community is the driving factor. All of us at AGS and NCSoft are committed to servicing the game, providing great updates, and continuing our launch momentum into the years to come. This is a never-ending journey where we need to continually prove our dedication to the game and to you, our community. We remain committed to using your feedback as a driving force for our development. And to that end, during my last video, I left the community with a question. What would you like to see changed in Throne and Liberty? Well, as I promised, I read each and every comment, and we're making lots of changes because of them. So I just wanted to highlight a few of those now. But don't worry, this isn't everything. On November 21st, we introduced Alliance Chat. I'm happy to say that additional skill and equipment presets will be added in December. Thanks for your patience on this. We wanted to adjust this so that once you invest in these, they are permanently part of your character. We're adding an option to automatically decline party invites from players other than those in your guild or friendly guild to help prevent griefing during PvP encounters. We expect this to be available in December. And last but not least, we are very happy to announce that we are working on adding mouse and keyboard support for our console players. And we expect that to become available in Q1 of 2025.
Okay.
Thank you all again so much for the constructive dialogue you've given us. Your feedback is truly our North Star.
I would like to see some progress for Sage. I really want to be a Sage. I like helping people. Y'all know this. I want to see like a progress sheet. Does anybody know if there is one? I didn't really look around in the menus and whatnot to find it, But is there something like that? Let me know in the comments below if they're like, oh yeah, Pop and they actually do have that already, because I don't know how close or far I am from Sage, and I would like to be a Sage.
And by the way, our next survey will be available on December 12th, and you'll be able to access it directly in game. So please give us your feedback then as well. All right, that brings us to our new community question. What we'd really like to know is, what types of holiday events would you like to see added to Throne and Liberty? Let me know down below in the comments.
Let me
Please
know.
like and subscribe.
Oh.
That lets us know you want more of these kinds of videos.
Yeah,
We will read each and every comment,
I
so
will.
let us know what you think.
please.
I hope this was informative. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in Silesium.
I love Tico, man. I love Tico. I love Godspeed. Anybody else you bring out, I'm gonna love too. I love also how I don't even have to have an outro. They literally said it for me. I'm chilling. No. But always so excited to see what they have to say. Obviously, I look at things. I like to criticize things, you know, constructively. I don't look at things and just, oh, I hate it. And I also don't look at things like, oh, I love it. And that's that. There's always pros and cons to everything. And really, I only bring it up to pick not only your brain, but their brain. I would love to see like how they're gonna like balance it. It's just to get cogs turning. It's not to say that anything that they do or any decisions that they make, I feel, are just straight up inherently bad. Nah. A lot of the decisions that they've made are great. Doesn't mean that there's no cons to it, but those are just things that I kind of like bring up just to like get everybody thinking. That's all. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Remember to keep an eye out for the I almost forgot the boss guides coming out. And I also listened to your feedback. And instead of just the boss, I'm also adding the mini bosses in there. So from now on, you're going to have mini bosses added in. I feel like I sound like him for my channel. But I'm going to have the mini bosses added in as part of the simplified boss guides. It's not just going to be the boss. So there you go. Until next time, you know what I always say. Think you guys are doing what? Popping often. Well, often.